protectors of our world. This is your time.
Yeah, there's a lot of impression videos out there for Anthem right now, and I think the majority of them are not super in favor of the game, so I thought I'd kind of add my 2 cents. I played about 10 hours. I want to throw my impressions out there, what I didn't like, what I did like, and you can decide for yourself if you want to buy the game.
Hey, is that them over there?
Yeah, that first bit in the video was a dig at the loading screens. They're pretty bad, and I think a lot of that is going to be fixed in the day one patch. Anyways, I just wanted to kind of talk about the kind of main issues I had with this game, some of the fun that I had, a lot of the technical issues that I did have that might be fixed at launch. They were still there on day one, which I think is pretty crappy, especially if you're gonna do like this kind of release over the span of 2 weeks when you have a day one patch coming a week later than when people can actually start playing the game. I think that's a little messed up, and I don't know if it's BioWare at fault for that or EA. A lot of people blame EA because they're like the big corporation and all, and they're publishing the game. BioWare has said that they have a lot of control over Anthem and the property of it. They gave this to EA and was like, hey, this is okay for you to start handing out to people on the 15th. In my opinion, it's like not. In the end, it doesn't matter as much as it does now because it is a live service and there's going to be updates. Casey Hudson has said so. Like, it's not going to be this thing that just kind of ends when they put the game out. They're constantly going to be improving the game and such. So I don't want to harp on that too much. I just kind of want to talk about my impressions in the first 10 hours because I did have some fun with the game and I think it does have legs. Yeah, no pun intended, those chicken legs on the javelin. So to counteract all the negative stuff you might have been hearing about Anthem over the past few days, and, you know, depending on when you're watching this, there's some cool stuff in Anthem, and I think, like, the story is part of it. There is a lot of, like, exposition, so if you don't really like that in a game, you don't like talking to a lot of people, you can skip things, but it might be a little bit of drag. It might interrupt the gameplay a little too much for you, but that is like a BioWare thing. You know, there is a lot of that in, you know, Mass Effect and their other games, so if you haven't played any of those, it might be kind of a shock to you, you know, compared to something like a Destiny or a Division or, you know, where stuff is kind of like given to you on the fly about the story. With my short time of the game, I didn't really see like an easy way to figure out like what missions you could get from who. And there were like icons that would show you where you could get a mission or like a contract, which are kind of like side missions. Like there would be these chat icons and you would just kind of talk to people for like exposition purposes, but like I didn't know if there was a side mission you could get out of them eventually, like a companion mission. And then there were just obviously like the main type missions, which were, I don't know, it was kind of hard for me to kind of distinguish what was what. So that might be a thing, just so you know, but I think overall the story was a positive. I think it was neat. I would like to play more of it, see where it goes. Some of the loot was really cool, and you can really kind of get an idea of some of the builds that you can make kind of towards the end of the game. I kind of think of it as like somewhere between like Destiny and the Division in terms of like builds. I know sometimes on YouTube you'll come across like Destiny build videos, but like you really can't build anything on Destiny, and like it's no like jab against Destiny, it's just there's not a lot of variation between like the Guardians and like the little mods, quote unquote mods that you can add to the characters. It doesn't really do much, but like in this game there's kind of a middle ground between that and the Division. The Division's like pretty hardcore in terms of like what you can do with your guy and your weapons and things like that. But like in this game, it's kind of like a easier way to figure all that stuff out because there's not a ton, but what there is enough to like really kind of change the way your javelin functions when you're in combat. And you can kind of play around with the different javelins, and if you're playing with friends, maybe they're playing a different javelin. There's like abilities where you can like prime targets for you, which basically like sets them up for like a detonation. And there's abilities that detonate, or you can just like go in there and just start hacking and slashing. I played as the Interceptor a lot, so I did that a lot. Or you can just coordinate with your friends and they can prime them. You go in, wreck house. My buddy Sly has a really good video on like primers and detonators, and Sly's going to be covering the game on his YouTube channel, and I think he's done a really good job on the videos he's done already. So if you're into Anthem, maybe go check his channel out. Now, because it's Anthem, let's talk about movement. It's pretty good in this game. I like jumping around and flying, and you can get like overheated in your javelin when you're flying, so if you just like swoop down at water, you can get cooled off and just kind of keep going. I can't really say too much more than that. I kind of wish the camera was pulled back just a little bit, because sometimes you jump off a cliff or something and then you're trying to like jump back up, and then it was kind of hard to angle yourself to try to jump back up, so you'd like have to fly back and then like fly up. But that's more of a nitpicky thing. I just thought it was cool. You kind of had that cool Iron Man kind of power complex where you're just kind of flying around, and that was neat to say the least. So mission variety, it's something. It's not great. It depends what you want out of missions. A lot of the times, you're going places, you're messing some enemies up, and you're just doing a thing and, interacting with a thing, and then you're done killing a boss. If that's all you want out of missions, then they're fine. There's some like fetchy ones where you gotta like get orbs and things and bring them back, like the Stronghold, which is in the game, which is kind of like a strike from Destiny. That is that's kind of like what you do basically, is you kind of go and get these orbs in a part, and then to go to the next part you have to like bring them back. Exactly what those things are called, but if you don't kind of like that kind of stuff, you might be turned off by some of the missions. But I thought they were fine. I would chalk it up as a negative because the free play that's available to you is just kind of like more of that, but it's just like in an open world, so it kind of makes you wonder, well, okay, so am I just doing like free play stuff as in the game? It might rub you the wrong way, it might not. I'm gonna chalk it up as a negative, not because I really hated it. It was just, it's there. It's just kind of like, okay, well, what's the difference between all of these? Kind of going back towards what I was saying before about, not really sure what the mission structure is in the game and such. So Anthem forces you into matchmaking for everything, and I think that's good overall, but it's kind of a mixed bag, so I'm going to put it as a negative because it puts you in with people that, maybe aren't on your skill level, or just, maybe they're just figuring things out and they don't really know what to do, and you're just trying to get through the mission. As far as the trial goes, for me, it was like a time waster, because it was like, okay, I got this guy that has no idea what he's doing, and he's just kind of chilling in the back. He's dying, and so it's like, well, you got to do everything yourself, and you might die, and then he might not revive you because he doesn't know how to. So if you have friends, find those friends and play with them. That is the way to play this game. On the subject of those death screens, they're not great, especially if you're in an area that the respawn is restricted, because then you need to just kind of wait around and you can't really see where the teammates are. You can kind of see like a silhouette around them. Like I said, I think that's being added at some point, but I just figured I'd let you know about it because if you're playing with randoms, that might be what you get. Moving on, I guess this is still kind of in the technical realm, but like, I had to reset my settings every time I closed out of the game. I don't know if that was because of the trial that I was on, but I mean, you're just launching the main game. It's just, there's a time limit on it. I don't know what's going on with this, and there's like unofficial patch notes out there right now. There's nothing about this in there, at least I don't think so. Anyways, I'm sure this will get fixed. It's just like, it was super frustrating, and again, especially because I had that 10-hour trial. I know that doesn't really matter if, you bought the game and you have it. But like it was a real pain to just go through like every setting, because there's a lot of settings in this game, which I think is great. But like the negative is like you having to redo it every time you launch the game. So we'll see. Hopefully that gets fixed. So I'm going to wrap this up because this is kind of my first impressions video, and I don't want to just ramble for like 20 minutes, and just kind of give you like a snapshot of everything. This game is really cool. The gameplay is fun. It can be fun. I would play with friends. Probably wouldn't play it solo. The missions are kind of okay. The story is fine. Nothing like crazy awesome. I don't think this is going to be like your next main game if you're into playing like stuff like Destiny. There's a lot of stuff that needs to happen in the game and end game. I haven't played end game, but I know like the strongholds, like I played one of them. There's only 3 of them, and those are the main end game content. Free play probably won't give you much to do either, but there's probably stuff there, and then that in conjunction with the main game, that's probably going to be a good 20 to 25 hours, and I think that should probably be it until there's new stuff. I wouldn't spend days and days and days and days playing this game because I just don't think there's enough content there. And because of that, I probably won't spend $60 on it. But like I say, that might not mean much to you. You know, if you just want to pick this up and, you know, have a good 20, 25 hours and, you know, with some ups and downs in between, some bugs and sometimes getting stuck in missions where you can't get to your teammates until they come to you because you're stuck in between 2 doors, you know, things like this, like they're going to pop up and, you know, they'll be addressed and fixed, but, you know, it's growing pains. It just happens. Anyways, I just kind of wanted to give my initial impressions of the game, just the first 10 hours that I played. But if you guys enjoyed the video, made it to the end, comment down below, give it a like. Anything's appreciated because I did put a lot of work into this video. It's probably one of my biggest yet, as well as my longest. I'd appreciate it. And thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day. Follow me on the socials. Yeah, that's about it for me, guys. Have a good one, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.